Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. So today's video is going to be my January 2023 TBR. So first off, I have my always fully booked 2023 book planner. This thing is amazing. I was so jealous that I missed out last year, and so I was able to get it for this year. This thing has so much. It has a series tracker, it has spots for your 5-star reads, it has your TBR lists, it has reading wrap-ups, it has reviews, it has spots for quotes. This thing is just all encompassing and amazing, and I've bought so many pins to try to make this fancy. And I just try to organize my whole life. So I'm very excited to have this, but all of that to say that I have my TBR written down here, and let's just go. So this month's TBR is going to be shorter than usual because I have 2 bigger books on this month's TBR. So I'm only going to do 4 books, including my shelf pick for this month. And then if I finish those and I read something else, it'll just be a free-for-all and a mood read. But the first one is going to be Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Like I've said in multiple videos and in my 23 books to read in 2023, this is one of the books that I've been really meaning to get to. It came out a few years ago and I've wanted to get to it for a long time, but just haven't. And so now is the time, I think, to pick this up. I think it's a good pick for kind of how I'm feeling in January, just going into winter, feeling kind of blah because the holidays are over and stuff like that. So I think this will be actually a great book to have, and I'm excited to see what this is all about. As far as I know, you're following Bryce, who I believe they're fae, but they live in this world where monsters are real. So fae, demons, angels, werewolves, just anything. There's just magical creatures galore, and they all live in this city. Her best friend ends up being murdered, I believe, and she ends up teaming up with a fallen angel detective to try to help solve this case. So it sounded amazing when I heard that premise of the fallen angel detective and all of that. So I am intrigued. I'm still intrigued, so I just need to get to it. This next one I want to get to first off because I really liked the first one, and secondly because I want to do better. I said I was going to do this in 2022 and I didn't do it as well. But something I want to do better is continuing series that I start. So not reading one book and then months go by and you pick up the second book, but rather reading them in the same month or in consecutive months. So I'm trying to do that with this because I read the first book in July and really loved it, but then just didn't pick up the second one immediately, and I need to get to it. So I need to read The Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio, and that's what I'm going to try to read in January as well. This with Crescent City are both chunky books, both physically and with audiobooks, so it's a lot in a month, so I'm trying to just have these, one other, and then my shelf pick, and that's why I'm keeping it so small, is because these guys are some chunky boys. So I would love to continue the journey of Hadrian Marlowe as he becomes the villain origin story. This is the Sun Eater series. I have talked about this before. You're following Hadrian as he is kind of I don't know if I can say that, but he's kind of outcast by his family and he has to start over, and it's his villain origin story, and that's kind of all you need to know going into it, I feel. So I need to follow Hadrian's adventure as I love him as a character so far. The next one is going to be on my TBR. I should be getting this on Libby in the next week or so. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe it won't be until the end, I don't know, but I'm hoping I'll get it soon, and that is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This is the same author as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I really enjoyed the first 2 books, the third one not so much, but I believe this is a standalone. Everything I've seen is it is a standalone so far, but this is her next installment, and from what I understand of this premise, there are 6 individuals and they end up going to this campsite, I think, and then somebody gets murdered and you don't really know how that happens or what's going on, and 5 survive. I'm not sure if the end is when somebody gets killed or if somebody gets killed and they're solving the murder. I can't remember all of the details to that, but because I really liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I was very interested to see what else this author would come out with, and so 5 Survive is next, and I will be reading it when I can get it on Libby. And last but not least, for January, we will be doing my shelf pick. If you're new here, I put a bunch of my books that I get from book boxes. I called it my sprayed edges shelves for a while, but almost every book you get from a book box now has a sprayed edge, and so this is just kind of all of the books that I've gotten in book boxes. And instead of putting them on my shelf and never thinking about them again, I decided to start putting them in this jar when I get them, when I haul them, putting them in here, and then drawing one every month to try to actually read them. And forcing myself to get through them even if I push them to the side. And I actually went through this for this year, pulled out all the ones that I've read that were still in there that I didn't pick but I just read on my own, and just kind of updated this a little bit. Added the ones that I hadn't added and was slacking off on. So it's all fresh and ready, and now let's just do this and draw my shelf pick. This always makes me like insanely nervous for no reason. Okay, so I drew A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting. Let me go ahead and grab that. So this is A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. This was actually a Christmas present that my husband gave me, so I just hauled this, but I drew it, so I gotta read it. So from what I know about this, you're following the main character who is desperately in search for a husband, but she needs a rich one because her father has accrued all of these debts, and in order to save her family, she needs to marry somebody rich in order to pay off all these debts, but the last thing she expects to find is love. I know nothing else about this. Illumicrate did this amazing edition of it, so my husband got it for me. Hopefully I really enjoy it because there have been like a certain niche of Regency romances that I've really appreciated, so maybe I will love this too. We will see. So those are all the books that I'm planning on reading in January. Like I said, it's a very short TBR, but because I have 2 chunky ones on there, I'm giving myself a little bit of room to breathe. Also, Hogwarts Legacy is coming out in February, so I may have less reading time and more video game playing time. So my February one might be short too, who knows? Please comment down below and let me know what you think of these books, if you're excited to hear my opinions on them, or if you've already read them and have your own opinions, or just some books you're planning on reading in January. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.